Hello again, everyone, and welcome to another edition of This Week in the World of Football. This is episode number 243 for May 10th, 2022. I'm your host, Randy Snow. Today we have a recap of last week's CFL draft, and 5 international games for the NFL have been announced, and there was also a little bit of news about Tom Brady, but it's not about him retiring just yet. In this week's history lesson, we tell the story of John Madden and Pat Summerall actually broadcasting a Division III college football game. But I'm not here by myself. Across the table from me, as always, is my son Adam.
I like how you kind of laughed at your own Tom Brady joke, because you definitely didn't have that in your original script.
That was an add-on.
Because you
had to pencil that in.
Yeah, you had to pencil that one in because you normally get the script around the night before we do the podcast. So today we had a couple of breaking things happen, and you just didn't get around to updating it. So it's always funny when you have to ad-lib because sometimes you nail it, and this is one of those times where you thought you were funny and you laughed at your own joke, and I'm just over here shaking my head.
Okay. We come to you each week from the World of Football Man Cave, located right here in the center of the football world, Kalamazoo, Michigan. We're here to promote the game of football in all its many forms, past, present, and future. Our goal is to inform and entertain our listeners with the glorious buffet that is the world of football, while keeping a close eye on the rich history of the game. Thanks for checking out our podcast. We'd love to get your feedback on one of our many platforms: Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, Stitcher, Spotify, TuneIn, iHeartRadio, and YouTube, where we post the entire audio portion of this show, as well as other selected videos. So let's begin today's show with Adam and the World of Football scoreboard.
That's right. We're going to start with a very exciting game in the USFL's Week 4 slate of games over the weekend. They played Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Starting with the Friday night game, the Philadelphia Stars squeaked by the Michigan Panthers 26-25. I know you didn't get to watch this game as it happened.
But you pointed me to the highlights.
I caught some of the highlights, and I was blown away. It was the longest run in the USFL so far the Michigan Panthers had. They clawed back towards the end of the game, down by a point, and with like 2 or 3 seconds left, Michigan had a chance to take the go-ahead field goal for the win. It was a chip shot field goal. I'm not even sure how many yards it was, 20-something yards. It looked easy. And they hit the left upright and lost the game. But, man, what a game that ended up being.
Yeah, there's some good highlights from that game. Didn't watch it on Friday night, though. In fact, I didn't actually see any of the USFL games this week. But
been pretty busy.
Yeah.
It's been tough, but that doesn't stop us from bringing you the scores and whatever highlights we're able to manage to see. In the Saturday doubleheader, it was the New Jersey Generals giving the Pittsburgh Maulers their 4th loss of the season. One of my new favorite things on Twitter is there is a USFL memes account out there. I don't know much of their content. I did see the one, though, for every time the Maulers lose, they just add an L in the middle of the Maulers' name and the logo. So it's a nice Photoshop logo with like 4 L's now in Maulers, which is pretty good. So they lost to the Generals 21-13. Then in the second game of the doubleheader, the Birmingham Stallions got a victory over the Tampa Bay Bandits 16-10. And on Sunday, the New Orleans Breakers got a victory over the Houston Gamblers, 23-16. That brings us over to the standings. In the north side of the divisions, the New Jersey Generals sit at the top with a 3-1 record, followed by the 2-2 Philadelphia Stars, the 1-3 Michigan Panthers, and the 0-4 Pittsburgh Maulers. In the south, the Birmingham Stallions remain the only unbeaten team in the league with a 4-0 record, followed by the New Orleans Breakers at 3-1. The Tampa Bay Bandits at 2-2, and the Houston Gamblers at 1-3. We now shift indoors to the Indoor Football League, and it was Week 9 over there where they had quite a few Saturday games, a Sunday and a Monday game. Starting with Green Bay, the Blizzard defeating the Bismarck Bucks 55-14. It wasn't even a contest in that one.
Not.
Saturday, you saw a great high-scoring affair between the Iowa Barnstormers and Quad City Steamwheelers, which saw Iowa take the victory 63-47. And if you thought that was high scoring, well, let me tell you about a great upset over in Arizona where the Tucson Sugar Skulls defeated the Arizona Rattlers 74-63, giving the Arizona Rattlers their first loss of this season.
Well, that had to be an exciting game to be at.
Yeah, I mean, I saw that the Rattlers had lost, and I was completely shocked. I mean, the Sugar Skulls have been kind of a so-so team.
Right,
they're kind of now they're like that third team in Arizona we talk about from the Indoor Football League, because you got the Northern Arizona Wranglers, who we'll talk about in just a second, but the Rattlers, who were just in the championship game last year, lost on a last-second field goal, but I believe it was a field goal. Can't remember if it was a field goal or a touchdown. Regardless, they lost in overtime. But the Rattlers are always a team we talk about in the Indoor Football League. So seeing them get this loss is a bit of a shock. They're usually either undefeated or like maybe they go into the end of the year with one loss. But here it is, the one loss.
Yeah, maybe this was it for this
maybe
year.
Maybe this is it. The Duke City Gladiators defeated the Bay Area Panthers 43-20. And then finally to wrap out on Sunday, those were the Saturday games. So then on Sunday, the Northern Arizona Wranglers defeated the Vegas Nighthawks 45-18. And we'll talk about Vegas here in just a second. And then Monday, we saw the Massachusetts Pirates, the defending champs, defeat the San Diego Strike Force 51-30. And then on bye this week, the Sioux Falls Storm and Frisco Fighters. And we're going to run down those standings real quick. In the East of the Indoor Football League, the Frisco Fighters sit at a 5-2 record, along with those Massachusetts Pirates we were just talking about. The Sioux Falls Storm and the Iowa Barnstormers sit with 4-3 records. The Quad City Steamwheelers sit at 500 with a 4-4 record. The Bismarck Bucks and Green Bay Blizzard round out the East with 3-5 records together. In the West, the Arizona Rattlers now still sit atop with a 6-1 record, followed by the Northern Arizona Wranglers at 5-2, and then the Tucson Sugar Skulls at 4-3. Again, those three teams all in Arizona, topping out that division.
I was going to point that out. All three Arizona teams are in the top of the West.
Yep, and right across the border from Arizona is the Vegas Nighthawks at 3-5, as well as the Duke City Gladiators with a 3-5 record. The San Diego Strike Force sit with a 2-5 record, while the Bay Area Panthers sit at the lowly 1-7 record. And then we did have a little bit of IFL news. We're going to tap real quick up here as we're talking Indoor Football League. We were mentioning Vegas a little bit ago. It was announced the other day that the IFL Championship game will now be known as the IFL National Championship or something. They kind of rebranded it a little bit.
It's. I did see the name. Whatever arena they're going to be playing at in Henderson, Nevada, which is right outside of Las Vegas. They signed a 3-year contract with that arena, and so for the next 3 years, they're going to have a neutral site championship game, which years ago when the Arena Football League went to a neutral site game for the championship, I thought it was a terrible idea because I thought you're taking that away from the fans of one of the cities that has the best record, and I just thought for arena football. It didn't work that well, but hopefully this will work out for the IFL. That just kind of means that they're moving up in the world where they're going to have a neutral site championship game in Las Vegas.
A manageable,
how can you beat that?
A manageable arena size for the league, where they're at right now.
Yep.
Seats 5,567 people. That is the Dollar Loan Center there in Las Vegas. But I think the full name of the game is called the Dollar Loan Center. Oh my God, this is so long. The Dollar Loan Center, don'tbebroke.com, IFL National Championship 2022 is what the logo says. Like that's all on the logo there.
Wow.
It's a pretty busy logo.
Yeah.
But still exciting. Instead of being the championship game, it's now the national championship game.
Right.
Which is interesting. So. Yeah, good for them, and a 3-year commitment's a good deal for this indoor league that's still kind of up and coming. So.
Well, I think that arena, since they have their own team there, Las Vegas, they're hoping that maybe Las Vegas can get into the championship game, maybe, or if not, they get to bring people from out of town into Vegas again. I mean, that's what Vegas is all about. Come here for your sports betting and your sports and gambling and whatever. Just come here and stay.
I'm sure they'll package some ticket deals for home fan or the fans of the two teams that end up making it. All right, and so that is it for the Indoor Football League. Now we're going to throw it over to Randy, who's going to cover a couple other indoor leagues that are in action.
Yes, Champions Indoor Football. This is Week 9 for them, and they had 4 games on Saturday. Everybody was in action this week. The Southwest Kansas Storm defeated the Rapid City Marshals 34-19. It was the Omaha Beef over the Topeka Tropics 44-33. The Sioux City Bandits defeated the Wyoming Mustangs 42-35. And the Salina Liberty over the Billings Outlaws 34-19. So checking the standings in the CIF, you have the Sioux City Bandits at 6-0, Southwest Kansas Storm at 5-2, Salina Liberty 4-2, as well as Billings Outlaws. At 4-3 is the Omaha Beef, Wyoming Mustangs at 2-5, Rapid City Marshals at 1-5, and the poor Topeka Tropics at 0-7. Man, they need a win bad over there. All right, moving to the National Arena League. This was Week 3 for them. The 2 games on Saturday, the Carolina Cobras defeated the Jacksonville Sharks 53-48, and the Albany Empire defeated the Orlando Predators 78-61. Man,
wow.
that would have been a good game to be at.
It was barn burner over
scoring every time somebody had the ball. That left the Columbus Lions and the San Antonio Gunslingers on a bye this particular week. So checking the standings there, it's the Carolina Cobras at 3-0, Columbus Lions at 2-0, Albany Empire at 2-1, Orlando Predators at 1-2, San Antonio Gunslingers at 0-2, and the Jacksonville Sharks at 0-3. And that is it for the World of Football scoreboard this week.
All right.
Man, half the show was just all scores.
Well, I wouldn't say half. I'd say we got through them pretty quick.
And not even an NFL or a college score to be seen.
Oh, that's when the scoreboard really expand. That's when it takes half the show.
Yep.
Because I got thoughts.
Yeah, you do. And opinions.
Lots.
All right, moving on to some NFL news. There were 5 international games that were announced this week. October 2nd, the Vikings and the Saints at Tottenham Stadium in London. That game is going to be on NFL Network. A week later, October 9th, the Giants versus the Packers at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, also on NFL Network. October 30th, Denver versus Jacksonville at Wembley Stadium in London. That game is going to be on ESPN+. So I don't know if you'll actually see that on regular ESPN.
Like if it's ESPN+, they might just stick to that app.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if that's going to be like they're going to do the early, where you got to get up at 9 in the morning to check it out. You'd think they'd put it on a regular network if that was the case, because people still watch it at 9 in the morning.
Yeah.
But this could be like that Yahoo situation where you could only watch the game. Remember the Jags had a couple of those games on Yahoo only, and that was the only way you could see it.
Yeah.
So.
And I didn't see them.
This is just a way for ESPN to weasel in and be like, "Hey, subscribe to our service."
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And then November 13th, Seattle versus Tampa Bay at Allianz Arena in Munich, Germany. That game is also going to be on NFL Network.
And that'll be the first NFL game in Germany, correct?
Well, they had the NFL.
Well, they had NFL Europe, but like pure NFL teams in Germany. This will be the first one.
I do believe so, yes.
That'll be a big deal.
Yes. And then November 21st, so this surprised me, Monday Night Football. The Cardinals versus the 49ers at Aztec Stadium in Mexico City on ESPN.
Why does that surprise you?
I don't know. I just didn't think they'd give an international game the
Monday Night
Football treatment.
Weren't they going to do that with the Rams and Chiefs, or did that eventually evolve into that Monday? Because they were supposed to play in Mexico City, then the field was all messed up, and then the Rams.
And they had to move it. They had to move it back a day.
Back to
LA. Was that going to be Monday night? I don't know.
I can't remember if that was a Monday or Tuesday. However, that ended up working out. Regardless, I think it's cool. An international game on the quote most pristine night of the NFL week schedule. I mean, Monday Night Football is their crown jewel. So especially now with the broadcasting,
and Joe Buck.
Yeah. So I think that'll be interesting. Yeah, I think that'll be interesting though. An international Monday night game. So
and all of these games are going to be at 9:30 in the morning, except the game in Mexico.
Well, that answers my question. I was just asking if that other game was at 9 in the morning on ESPN Plus, and you said you didn't know.
I didn't. You didn't ask me.
I did. Go listen to the tape.
You made a statement, but I wasn't going to say anything because I had that coming up. That all these. 4 out of the 5 are going to be 9:30 games.
Curse me for not looking down the rundown.
The London games and the German game are all going to be 9:30
thanks for hanging me out to dry, making me look like a fool.
It's getting easier all the time. All right,
I can't wait for you to leave.
Monday Night Football doubleheader was announced today. In Week 2 on September 19th, it's going to be the Titans versus the Bills in the first game and the Vikings-Eagles in the second game. Any thoughts on that?
Well, that was announced yesterday, wasn't it? They kind of been trickling out news every single day.
I think that was just this morning because Bill Cowher was on the Today Show this morning and made that announcement.
Was that just this morning? I could have swore it was yesterday they were talking about the Monday night doubleheader, because then today we got the next bit of news. But yesterday I'm pretty sure they announced the Monday night doubleheader, because why would they announce the Monday doubleheader?
Yesterday I think it was the Christmas game.
No, this morning was the Christmas game, which we'll talk about in just a second. That's why when you go down your bullet points...
When I was watching Bill Cowher on the Today Show this morning, right after he made the announcement, my phone jumped with a notification, and NFL announces Monday night doubleheader. So it had to be today.
Well, it wasn't, so I'm going to tell you right now. That's why your bullet points are the way they are. So anyway, moving on.
Okay. Let's see. Like I said, the Christmas Day, it's going to be a good Christmas for us. We get to watch Matthew Stafford and the Rams play Denver.
Yeah, Russell Wilson and the Denver Broncos.
Yep, that should be a good game on Christmas
Day. And he just got a new dog named Bronco, so Good for Russell Wilson.
Did he?
Yeah, he did. I think he's going to win the Super Bowl now.
Okay. And then there was a little bit of news today about somebody named Tom Brady.
Who?
Yeah, really. That's
Is this guy still in the league?
Yeah. It was announced that he has signed a contract with Fox Sports to be their lead analyst after he retires. But nobody knows when that's going to be.
He doesn't even know.
Is it going to be after this season? Is it going to be after next season? Is it going to be 5 years from now? Nobody knows.
Well, this is almost like the Drew Brees situation before Drew Brees retired.
That's true. He did sign
We found out the summer before he was going to join that when he decided to retire.
Yeah.
And it just so happened that was the year he was done. But is Tom Brady going to do that? Is he kind of throwing out there, this is my last year no matter what? Or is he really saying, I don't know, I'll hang him up when I feel like it?
Well, maybe he's figuring he's going to win another Super Bowl and he'll leave on top with his
Maybe.
8th Super Bowl. Who knows? But yeah, the contract that he signed is supposedly a 10-year deal worth $375 million.
Man, that's a good get. I mean, for that price though, that would make him the highest paid broadcaster.
Probably.
So at least Giselle knows he's not going to be a bum collecting unemployment checks when he's done and retired.
Right.
But now the big question is, who do you pair up with Tom Brady? You got a year to figure out the personality who could go with Tom Brady.
They said who he was going to be paired up with. I did not write it down.
Oh, geez.
But
great due diligence over there. I guess I'll have to.
I don't care because it was somebody I've never heard of.
You probably don't know who it is, but
heard of this guy,
everybody else might have.
But it's not like he was, with Troy Aikman or Pat Summerall or anybody like that.
All right. Well, you vamp a little bit. I'm gonna see if I can't
and then
find
the last item I have here for the NFL is that the Dolphins signed running back Sony Michel today to a 1-year deal from the LA Rams. That I don't get. I mean, yes, I know that he won a Super Bowl with the New England Patriots a few years ago, and then he moved over to the Rams where he won a Super Bowl last year with LA, and now he's jumping ship again to go to Miami. If you're with a Super Bowl team, why wouldn't you stick around for a couple of years? Maybe get 2 in a row. Or
how many teams have gone back to back? Not a lot.
Not a lot, no.
So there you go.
But is Miami one of those teams? Of course, he's got 2 Super Bowl rings now. Maybe he doesn't care about a ring anymore.
Maybe not. But
maybe he's got family in Miami. I don't know.
I know Miami's one of those spots right now that they did a lot of moves in the off season. Could Miami be a team of turning it around this year? Maybe maybe he's trying to get in on the ground floor or something special. So who knows?
So who are they pairing up Brady
I didn't see a name. I looked real quick. I didn't see a name. So I think you're just making that up.
No, they did. They mentioned a guy, and it was a name that I had no idea who it was.
Well, apparently not that important. I bet you I'm going to find it later and yell at you because I'll be like, of course we all know who this guy is.
Well,
was it Gus Johnson?
I retweeted it on our Twitter feed, so it should be right there.
You know I don't look at your Twitter feed.
It's our Twitter.
Well,
Twitter
you keep
feed,
going through the news.
Football.
I guess I'll keep digging up to find that because now I'm curious.
Okay. Well, I was going to turn to some CFL news, and the CFL draft was held last week. And just before the draft started, Montreal made a trade with the Edmonton Elks for the number 1 overall pick, and Montreal selected linebacker Tyrell Richards out of Syracuse. So that was kind of a surprise because Edmonton had the first overall pick in the draft, but Montreal made a quick trade, and so I think the Elks moved down to the 3rd or 4th pick in the first round. So I just thought that was interesting that Montreal really wanted this kid to be on their team. And with the 5th overall pick, the Calgary Stampeders selected wide receiver Jalen Philpott out of the University of Calgary. It's kind of a situation like the Pittsburgh University of Pittsburgh quarterback signing with the Steelers.
Yeah.
So he's right there in Calgary, plays on the same field. It's interesting because that field has the Stampeders logo in one end zone and the University of Calgary Dinos logo in the other end zone, so they share that stadium. So anyway, they picked him with the 5th overall pick. And then with the 9th overall pick, the Montreal Alouettes selected his twin brother, wide receiver Tyson Philpott, who also was with the Calgary Stampeders. Or I'm sorry, he was at the University of Calgary. Now, their father, Corey, played 8 years in the CFL with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers and the British Columbia Lions, and he won a Grey Cup championship with the Lions in 1994. So quite a family history up there of playing in the CFL. And let's see, with the 8th overall pick, Edmonton selected Trey Ford from Waterloo University up in Canada, and he was the only quarterback taken in the entire draft. And he was the first quarterback taken in the first round in 42 years. since 1980. And I've always said, they don't pick college quarterbacks from Canada out there very often. They always get a quarterback from the United States, and I've never understood that, because I would think that you just spent a couple of years playing that style of football as a quarterback. Why wouldn't you want a kid that's had success, maybe won a national championship in Canada? But Trey Ford from Waterloo got selected in the first round this year, so good for him. Let's see. In the fifth round, another set of twin brothers was selected. The Edmonton Elks selected linebacker Wesley Apollon from Tuskegee here in the States. And with the very next pick, the Ottawa Red Blacks selected his brother, Woodley Apollon, who also played at Tuskegee. So, yeah, two sets of twins were taken in the CFL draft this year. There was also a player taken in the seventh round from Division II Hillsdale College right here in Michigan. The Saskatchewan Roughriders selected defensive back Zach Herzog, so good for him. Congratulations. The final pick in the draft, number 74, was by Winnipeg. They selected fullback Connor Burtonshaw from Queen's University. That's their version of Mr. Irrelevant, but I don't think, being the 74th pick in the draft, with 8 rounds and only 19, that's not really that irrelevant, I don't think. But it'd be interesting to keep an eye on this kid and see, if he makes a team, how he does. But, it's better than what was the guy this year? 262, I think, was the last pick in the NFL draft. But good luck to him. Congratulations on getting drafted. A total of 74 players were selected over 8 rounds. U.S. schools where players were selected from included Syracuse, Penn State, Coastal Carolina, Fresno State, Alabama, and Louisiana Tech. Did you ever find the information you were looking for?
No, I haven't seen anything anywhere, so I think you're just making it up.
Yeah, I'll find it and I'll stick it in your face.
There you go.
The last thing from the CFL is the Edmonton Elks are going to be donating the proceeds from one of their home preseason games on June 3rd versus Calgary to Canada Ukrainian Relief, which will help refugees resettle in Alberta. Tickets for the game are priced at $15, and they're calling the event Stand with Ukraine Night. So I think that's an awesome thing they're doing.
I like that a lot. Maybe we should just buy tickets just to support and not even go to the game.
Yeah, that's a thought. Okay, XFL news. The XFL is going to have a number of combine-style showcase events in June and July, as well as an HBCU showcase in Jackson, Mississippi. So they're trying to, already get players lined up for their teams, even though they haven't announced the teams. They got coaches, but they don't have any teams and names yet. But some of these showcases are going to be playing, other than the HBCU one in Jackson, Mississippi, the other ones are going to take place in Texas, Hawaii, Washington, D.C., Florida, and Arizona. And I'm just wondering, is that an indication of where these teams might be? Are they going to have a team in Arizona, one in Florida, one in Washington, D.C.?
I don't think it'd be fiscally responsible to have a team in Hawaii your first season. I think that's... Well, I think they're going to keep things a little more regionalized in the XFL.
You would think so. But that was just my first thought, is that, if they're having these combines in these different places, maybe that's where some of the teams are going to be. They've been kind of tight-lipped about that.
We'll see.
Okay. And let's see here. Arena Football TV on YouTube. The game they posted this week is a 1997 game, the New York City Hawks versus the Arizona Rattlers. And this is a game where Danny White was in his 4th season as head coach of the Arizona Rattlers. So it looks like a pretty interesting game. A lot of well-known players like Hunky Cooper and Randy Gatewood, Cedric Bonner. They're all,
Arena
that
legends.
whole crew. I mean, they were such a dynasty. And that's, the Arizona Rattlers team by name is still around, and but that's the team I remember.
Oh, yeah.
But they've always been a good team, no matter what league they're playing in, who owns them, who's on the team. Arizona Rattlers have been a tough team for many, many years, going back to 1997.
Almost 3 decades now.
Yeah. Yep, absolutely. All right, birthdays today. May 10th, quarterback Jim Zorn turned 69 today. Man, I remember him being drafted and playing for the Seattle Seahawks. He played his college football at Cal Poly Pomona. He played 11 NFL seasons. He was with the Seattle Seahawks from 1976 to 1984. He was with the Green Bay Packers in 1985 and was with Tampa Bay in 1987. He and Steve Largent were, rookie quarterback, rookie wide receiver, and boy, they did some great things out in Seattle and the years they were out there together. Zorn was also the head coach of the Washington Redskins in 2008 and 2009. and he was the head coach of the XFL's Seattle Dragons in 2020. He's also been an assistant coach in the NFL with Detroit, Seattle, Washington, Kansas City, and the Baltimore Ravens, as well as in college at Boise State, Utah State, and at Minnesota. So he's had quite the career in NFL, coaching, you name it. He's done it. And another birthday today, Pat Summerall's birthday. Born on this date in 1930. He passed away in 2013 at the age of 82. Gosh, was it been that long? 2013?
Right.
Going on 10 years? Crazy? Wow. It doesn't seem like it was that long. Best known as a broadcaster, but he also played college football at Arkansas, where he was an end and a kicker. He was selected in the 4th round of the 1952 NFL Draft by the Detroit Lions. He spent one season with Detroit out of his 10 NFL seasons. 1952 was with Detroit and won his one and only NFL title as a Detroit Lions rookie. How about that? I had forgotten that. He then went on to play for the Chicago Cardinals from 1953 to 1957 and was with the New York Giants. I think that's where most people remember him from. New York Giants from 1958 to 1961. He got to play in that 58 title game against the Baltimore Colts, the greatest game ever played, and I think back-to-back years they lost. I mean, the Giants were a good team, but boy, they just couldn't get past the Colts in those years.
Yeah.
But then after his playing career, he went into broadcasting, and the rest is history. And in fact, our history lesson is about Pat Summerall today, so we'll have that coming up in a few. All right, obituaries today. This is where we take a moment to honor those who've made the world of football a better place. Our first obituary is that of Bob LaRose, a wide receiver in the Canadian Football League for 7 seasons. He has passed away at the age of 76. LaRose played college football at the University of Western Ontario. He was selected in the CFL draft by the Winnipeg Blue Bombers and played his entire pro career with Winnipeg from 1970 to 1976. After his playing career was over, he returned to the University of Western Ontario, where he was an assistant coach for 20 years, and he was also a teacher at the school.
All right, our next obituary is that of Jack Morris, a defensive back in the NFL for 4 seasons, has passed away at the age of 90. Morris played college football at Oregon and was selected in the 7th round of the 1956 NFL Draft by the Los Angeles Rams. He played in LA from 1958 to 1960 and was traded to the Pittsburgh Steelers during the 1960 season. He finished his playing career with the Minnesota Vikings in 1961.
Our next obituary is that of Kurt Mers, a guard and defensive end in the American Football League and the Canadian Football League, has passed away at the age of 84. Mers played college football at Iowa and was selected in the 3rd round of the 1960 NFL Draft by the Philadelphia Eagles. However, he signed with the CFL's Winnipeg Blue Bombers. He played part of the 1960 season in Winnipeg before being traded to the Ottawa Red Blacks, where he finished the season by winning a Grey Cup title with Ottawa. I guess that goes to show you that they shouldn't have traded him. Then he played for the AFL's Dallas Texans in 1962 and won an AFL title that year.
Hold on real quick. You said the Ottawa Red Blacks. It was the Rough Riders.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I write?
You wrote Rough Riders.
I did write Rough Riders, but I said
you
Red
said
Blacks.
Red Blacks. I was wondering. I was like, wait a minute. The Red Blacks weren't around that back then.
That's the reverse of what I normally do. Normally, I'll say the Edmonton Eskimos when it should have been the Elks, so I always go with the older name, but yeah, I did write Rough Riders down. Yes, it was the Ottawa Rough Riders where he won a Grey Cup. Yeah. So then he goes to the Dallas Texans in 1962, wins an AFL title there. The Texans then became the Kansas City Chiefs in 1963. He played for the Chiefs through 1968 and played in Super Bowl I against the Green Bay Packers. After his playing career was over, Mers went into broadcasting and was a sports talk radio show host.
All right, and our final obituary today is that of Bill Lasky, a linebacker in the NFL and the American Football League for 10 seasons, has passed away at the age of 79. Lasky played college football at Michigan. He then went on to play for the Buffalo Bills in 1965, then for the Oakland Raiders from 1966 to 1970. There he won an AFL title. He won an AFL title with the Bills in 1965 and another with the Raiders in 1967. He also played in Super Bowl II against the Green Bay Packers. Lasky finished his playing career with the Baltimore Colts in 1971 and 72, and the Denver Broncos in 1973 and 1974. Wow, that sentence was written terribly.
Well, his last two teams were with the Colts and the Broncos. He was with the Colts 71, 72.
I get that,
and the Broncos,
but you
72.
wrote that terribly. That was bad writing. I'm just going to say, I'm just throwing it out there.
Well, maybe if you'd read these things before we start recording, it might go better.
No, or if you just wrote them better, I could read them off the teleprompter. Ron Burgundy had no issues until somebody started writing curse words on there.
Yeah, okay. All right. I guess we're up to this week's history lesson. And the history lesson this week, John Madden and Pat Summerall once broadcast a Division III college football game. The greatest broadcasting team in NFL history has to be John Madden and Pat Summerall. The two worked together from 1981 to 2002, first at CBS and then at Fox. They worked 8 Super Bowls together and every Thanksgiving Day game over their 22-year association. But this is the story of a college football game that they also worked. Was it a major college game like Michigan versus Notre Dame or Auburn versus Alabama? Not quite. In 1982, the NFL was in the midst of a players' strike. It was just the second season that Madden and Summerall had been working together. CBS had a contract with the NCAA at the time that called for 4 Division III games to be aired locally during the season. With no NFL games on Sundays during the strike, CBS decided to move those 4 games from Saturday to Sunday. Madden and Summerall were assigned to work the game between the Baldwin-Wallace Yellow Jackets and the Wittenberg Tigers. Pat O'Brien was the sideline reporter. Both schools were members of the Ohio Athletic Conference at the time. The game was nationally televised with all the resources of any nationally televised NFL game on CBS. Just 9 months earlier, Madden and Summerall had broadcast their first Super Bowl together. Super Bowl 16 was played at the Pontiac Silverdome in Michigan between the San Francisco 49ers and the Cincinnati Bengals. Now they were spending their time studying game film of 2 Division III teams and watching practices in preparation for their college football broadcast. The game was played on October 3, 1982, at Wittenberg Stadium in Springfield, Ohio. About 7,000 fans attended the game. It was standing room only at the stadium. The Yellow Jackets won the game 16-14 on a 47-yard field goal by Steve Varga with 10 minutes remaining in the game. Ratings for the game were better than network executives had anticipated, with about 4 million people tuning in for the game. The other 3 games that were broadcast locally that same day also featured major CBS announcers. Tom Brookshire and Wayne Walker worked the West Georgia Millsaps game. Dick Stockton and Hank Stram worked the San Diego Occidental game, and Tim Ryan and John Morris worked the game between Wisconsin Oshkosh and Wisconsin Stout. As for those other games, Occidental defeated San Diego 34-20, Stout defeated Oshkosh 23-15, and West Georgia defeated Millsaps 41-6. In the West Georgia game, kick returner Lamar West scored touchdowns of 91 and 92 yards. West Georgia also went on to win the Division III National Championship that year by shutting out Augustana 14-0. The NFL strike lasted 57 days and saw 8 games canceled. The league was able to reschedule one of those canceled games at the end of the season, so teams played a total of 9 games in 1982. It was the first strike that saw NFL regular season games actually canceled. But it will also be remembered as the time when the greatest broadcasting team in NFL history traveled to Springfield, Ohio, and worked a national TV broadcast of a Division III college football game.
Yeah, I've seen some highlights from this game. I've seen footage of them doing the broadcast. It's actually really interesting. I remember coming across this a month or two ago, maybe even longer, and we talked about it. You might have been vaguely familiar with it, and you always kind of had this on the docket at some point, but you're finally getting around to it. I like this story.
I don't think I watched that particular game. I mean, I remember the strike. I remember, they played a 9-game season where they threw in an extra game at the end. I do remember that season, but for the life of me, I do not recall watching this game on CBS.
Oh, hey, yeah, go to YouTube, and there's some good stuff on it. So. Yep. And the story behind it is fascinating. So.
Yeah, I mean, taking 4 D3 games and making that your your whole day of football when you had no NFL,
right.
And you're trying to push D3. But, I mean, I've been to D3 games. I've been to NAIA games. Football is football. And if you give it the respect it deserves, it's all good. And that's basically what
it's a great
Summerall
game
did.
That works really well for broadcasting.
Sure.
So
yeah. Okay, upcoming events calendar. This Thursday, 2 days from now, the full 2022 NFL schedule is going to be released.
Yeah, but I'm sure we'll keep getting stuff trickling out over the next couple of days. They're going to keep giving us nuggets, and we got the Christmas games today, so tomorrow maybe we'll get the Thanksgiving lineups, and then Thursday morning we'll get something else, and then Thursday night they'll make the big breaking down the schedule. And,
the national
NFL Network.
No, just that extravaganza they do every year. They got a whole 4-hour show breaking down the whole draft, which is stupid. Just put it out there and let everybody dissect it.
But who'll dissect it will be me and my co-host next week on episode 244 of this very podcast, which is the next event on the upcoming events calendar.
Yep. I'll be out of the state next week, and you and your brother have decided that you're going to take over the microphones for a week.
Yeah.
I hope you learned something about
how hard it is to put together the show.
Yeah,
I've already got it all wrote down. I just got to fill in some scores. Okay. Got to find some news stories. It shouldn't be that hard. How it takes you 7 days to fill this thing out, I'll never know.
Well, I'm already planning to listen to it from where I'm going to be and giving a big thumbs down on it when I after I listen.
Sure. I can't wait to see the comment.
All right, continuing with our upcoming events calendar. Thursday, June 9th, the CFL regular season begins with a game between Montreal and Calgary. Sunday, July 3rd, the USFL championship game is going to be played in Canton, Ohio. And Thursday, August 4th, the Pro Football Hall of Fame game in Canton, Ohio. The Jaguars versus the Las Vegas Raiders, and we're right back into NFL season after that.
Oh, it's right around the corner.
Yep.
Can't wait.
Yep. All right. Anything else that you ran across? Because that's everything I had on the agenda.
No, it's a very sparse week this week. I mean, we're running at almost about 37 and a half minutes.
Yeah.
Or about around there. So
that whole thing about Tom Brady coming out today though was weird.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I've signed this $10-year, $375 million contract, but I don't know when I'm gonna start making that money because I'm too busy playing right now.
Yeah. He ain't focused on that. He's playing in ahead, which I think is smart. But at the same time, that's a big commitment. And you don't even know if you're gonna like being in the booth that much. That'll be interesting.
Eventually, your career is going to come to an end, and you do have to do something else. So I'm sure he's probably thought about: do I want to be an announcer? Do I want to do that sort of thing? So evidently, he's thought about it long and hard. That's what he wants to do.
From the greatest quarterback of all time to the greatest broadcaster of all time, Mr. Brady just saved some talent for the rest of us.
Everything he touches.
Married to a supermodel. What else could this dude take from all of us schmucks?
Everything he does just seems to.
He rubs it in all of our ugly faces.
Yep. I don't know, but yeah, I mean, well, look at it this way: if he wins a Super Bowl this year, he goes out on top. And if he doesn't win a Super Bowl, maybe he's going to think, do I want to go through this again? To get number 8.
Do I latch onto a new team?
I got $375 million waiting for me at Fox, and I don't have to get beat up every week. I don't know. It's just weird.
And you said you found the guy. You finally found the guy he's going to partner with.
Yes. Well, I was listening to myself do the history lesson. Kevin Burkhardt is who they're going to team him
name
with.
Is familiar.
I have no idea who that is. I can't say I've heard the name. Maybe if I saw him, I would recognize him as doing some of the games. He's probably done a bunch of Lions games.
And I don't take much stock in that because we still got who knows when this will end up happening. This Kevin Burkhardt could retire. He could quit. He could go somewhere else for all we know.
He could get fired
so,
after this year.
Who knows? Or what if another star athlete becomes available? What if Peyton Manning finally decides, I'm going to leave ESPN because they got Troy Aikman and stuff over there? What if Peyton Manning
Brady
teamed up?
and Manning in the booth?
See, I'm telling you.
Doing Thursday night football every week.
And then you throw in Eli there and Cooper on the sidelines.
Right.
You might have the greatest broadcasting group of all time.
That would be something. I would watch that.
Or throw Marshawn Lynch in there too. You telling me that wouldn't be the greatest broadcast in history?
They'd wear out the bleep button after the first game.
I'm okay with that. Football needs a Marshawn Lynch a little more. He's the one thing I'm missing in football. I need him more.
Well, I guess. All right. I guess that's it for this week. If you learned something during this podcast about the incredible amount of diversity that exists in the world of football, then we have done our job. Visit our website at theworldoffootball.com for news, links, upcoming events, videos, and more. Our email address is info@theworldoffootball.com.
You can like The World of Football on Facebook at TWOF Kalamazoo, where we post a lot of news and pictures and stories from all over the world of football. You can find a lot of that same stuff and even more over on our Twitter, which is at TWOF Kalamazoo. New episodes of this very podcast are posted on Tuesdays and are available on SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, TuneIn, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and YouTube. Our YouTube channel is The World of Football Kalamazoo, so please subscribe, rate, review, give us a like, leave us a comment, let us know what you think, and please come be a part of the football conversation.
And remember, folks, some people may love football more than we do, but nobody, and I mean nobody, loves more football than we do. Until next time, I'm Randy Snow.
And, wow, your last show for a couple weeks. Is it going to be weird?
I'm only going to miss one.
You're going to miss 1 week, but it's going to be a little weird for you, isn't it? You're back in the groove?
No, we had a 5-week vacation.
Yeah, we had 5 weeks off, but knowing that your podcasting baby is going to be in the hands of your children to take care of for a week and nurture and take care of and make sure that it makes it to another week without crashing and burning or upsetting people. I mean, you're not worried in the slightest that we're going to screw this up?
If I come home and this thing is broken, there will be hell to pay. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, I'm excited for
you will incur my wrath when I get home.
I am so excited for the inevitable train wreck that is episode 244.
All right. See you, everybody.
Yep, have fun on your trip.
And Adam, we'll see you all next week.
Yeah, I will. Me and my brother, it's going to be a heck of a lot of fun. So come join us next week, everybody.